Hello there. Welcome to an introduction of a fantastic application from Total Training Support Limited, the QBGenerator. Total Training Support, based at Cranfield University in England, has been providing training manuals, workbooks, exam banks, and examination software to Part 147 organizations worldwide for over 25 years. The QBGenerator is the latest version of their popular exam management software. In this overview, I'll walk you through what it is, its key features, and how it can help your training organization streamline exam management and delivery. QB is fully compliant with Part 147 regulations and is approved by aviation authorities and safety regulators worldwide. It allows training providers to administer aircraft maintenance exams in either paper or electronic format, e-exams. Exams can be taken on almost any digital device, tablets, laptops, or desktops, provided they are connected to the host computer via Wi-Fi or a wired network. The software is provided as a Software as a Service (SaaS) solution, hosted on TTS's specialist secure servers and designed to meet the highest modern standards of cybersecurity and cyberattack resilience. This includes multi-factor authentication and optional user device locking via MAC address control. Multiple databases can also be installed, for example, one for Part 66 basic training exams and another for type training exams, keeping the systems separate and configured appropriately. In basic training, the syllabus is structured by modules and subsections. In type training, it's organized by aircraft and engine types, further divided into ATA chapters. Additionally, human factors and fuel tank safety recurrent exams can also be managed within the QB system. From the examinee's perspective, the process is straightforward. They log in with a system-generated, single-use password and their examinee number. Before the exam begins, they review the conditions and instructions set by the administrator. Once accepted, the timer begins and the exam starts. The interface is intuitive. A progress bar, navigation table, and configurable layouts allow examinees to move easily through questions, skip and return, or review answers before submission. Questions and answer choices can be randomized to ensure fairness and integrity. At the end of the exam, results can be displayed instantly or withheld depending on the administrator's preference. On the administration side, QB provides robust security with strong password requirements and brute force protection. If suspicious login attempts are detected, the system will lock the account. After logging in, you will be directed to the home page. At the top of the page, you can see the current database you are working on, your account name, your assigned role as administrator. There are 3 types of administrator roles in QB. 1. Company Administrator. The company administrator holds the highest level of access, with full control over all QBGenerator configurations. This role includes access to all databases, creating and managing administrators, super administrators and questions administrators SMEs, restricting administrator access to specific modules, aircraft, or engine types in a type training database, defining which functions are available to each administrator, full access to all modules, aircraft, and engine types in a type training database, complete access to system settings, question management, exam management, and classes. 2. Super Administrator. The Super Administrator has almost the same permissions as the company administrator, but with slightly reduced authority. This role includes access to assigned database only, creating and managing questions administrators SMEs, access to specific modules, aircraft, and engine types assigned by a higher-level administrator. Access to system settings, question management, exam management, and classes as granted by a higher-level administrator. 3. Questions Administrator Subject Matter Expert, SME. The Questions Administrator SME focuses primarily on question and exam management, with access determined by higher-level administrators. This role includes access to assigned database only, access to specific modules, aircraft, and engine types assigned by a higher-level administrator in a type training database, access to system settings, question management, exam management, and classes as granted by a higher-level administrator. Now, let me show you how a company administrator can manage people in QB. After logging in, you'll arrive on the home page. Here, you'll see a list of administrators for each module, as well as the list of examinees who are currently active. Next to every name, there's a small pencil icon, which allows you to edit that specific administrator or examinee. If you want to see the full list, you can always go directly into the People section. When you open the Administrators tab, the page displays recent login information, the complete administrator list, and a search bar with filter options to help you quickly find someone. If you need to create a new administrator, simply click the Create Administrator button. This will bring up a registration form where you can enter details such as their first and last name, username, title, password, email, and assigned role. You also have the option to enable or disable email OTP for security, and even upload a profile picture for the administrator. Once the personal details are filled out, you can move on to setting up their access. In the Subscriptions tab, you can restrict which modules, aircraft, or engine types they are able to access if you're working with a type training database. You can also define how long their subscription will last and renew or extend it later if needed. This ensures administrators can only access the modules they are responsible for. You can also give the administrator to all modules. Next, in the Permissions tab, you'll be able to fine-tune their level of access. First, select the database they'll be responsible for, then decide exactly which functions they can use, from question management, exam management, people, settings, and classes. This way, you have complete control over which tools each administrator can access. Managing examinees works in a similar way. Inside the People section, click on Examinees, and you'll see a searchable list that you can filter by name or by class number. To add a new examinee, just click Add Examinee. A registration form will open where you can enter details such as the examinee number, title, first name, last name, email, birth date, place of birth, and class. You can also upload their photo, which will appear on their exam screen and on any reports generated for them. After you register an examinee, you can manage their subscription. Here, you can adjust the duration of each module they are subscribed to. From the exam results page, you can filter specific exams, print out detailed reports, or even generate certificates. In the certificate section, you'll find a full list of all certificates awarded to the examinee. Now, let's move on to the Settings tab, where you'll find a range of tools to configure and manage the system. Inside the settings, you'll see options for general settings, certificates, classes, modules, subsections, backup and restore, and tablet registration. Starting with general settings, the first area is the exam general settings. Here, you can control whether the system uses only approved questions, or allows unapproved ones as well. If you set approved questions to off, QB will use both approved and unapproved questions, which is usually helpful for testing or demonstration purposes. If you set it to on, only approved questions will be used. This is often required by regulatory authorities. Remember, approved questions are authored by one subject matter expert and then approved by another. Next is question levels. When set to inclusive, QB selects questions from the specified level, plus all lower levels, for example, levels 1, 2, and 3. This is the standard setting for type training exams. When set to exclusive, QB selects only the exact level specified in the settings, which is the standard for basic training exams. Then, we have the pass mark. This is where you define the percentage required to pass multiple choice exams, usually following your authority's regulations. The time per question setting defines how many seconds an examinee has for each multiple choice question. For example, EASA regulations allow 75 seconds per question for basic training exams, and 90 seconds per question for type training exams. The system multiplies this by the number of questions to calculate the total exam time, which is displayed both on printed exams and in the countdown timer for electronic exams. Another important feature is question hibernation. If this is turned on, a percentage of questions can be temporarily put out of use for a set number of exam generations. For example, if you set hibernation to 20% for 3 generations, each new exam will include at least 20% new questions compared to the previous one, and those hibernated questions won't be used again until after 3 more exam generations. We also have wildcard labels, which let you add extra information to generated exams. For example, you might add the exam location, the exam type such as credit, resit, or extension, or even the examiner's name. Up to 2 labels can be added, and these will appear in the exam reference number. Now, let's take a look at the printed exam settings. Here, you can choose the style of the answer sheet, either circles or squares for the multiple choice options. You can also decide whether to hide or show the question levels, and whether to hide or show subsection titles. This section also allows you to upload your organization's logo, set its size and position, and even add the examination manager's signature. These can be applied to the title page, headers, or footers of the printed exam. You can adjust the page dimensions, such as the height, width, and text size, to make sure your printed papers look the way you want. For example, starting with a height of 1300 pixels and a width of 950 pixels usually works well, and you can adjust text size from 14 pixels if needed. Next, we have the e-exam settings, which apply to exams taken electronically. For access, you can choose between 2 methods: passwords, which generate single-use codes for each examinee on desktops or laptops, or QR codes, which examinees can scan using tablets. You can also set the question order either random, so each examinee receives the same questions but in a different sequence, or serial, where all examinees receive the questions in the same order. The question display setting determines whether examinees see one question at a time, with navigation tools to move back and forth, or all questions at once on a single scrollable screen. Subsections and question levels can also be shown or hidden, depending on your preference. After the exam is completed, you can decide how much feedback the examinee receives. You may choose to hide or show the result percentage, and if the result percentage is shown, you can also choose whether to display a detailed breakdown of correct and incorrect answers. Keep in mind, showing a breakdown is usually not recommended for authority-approved exams, since many questions could reappear in a resit. Other e-exam options include enabling audio narration, setting who starts the exam clock, either the examinee themselves or the administrator for all examinees at once, and customizing both the pre-exam text and the post-exam message. Pre-exam text contains instructions and conditions the examinee must agree to, while post-exam text is shown immediately after the exam is marked. Now let's move on to certificates. In this section, you can customize certificate designs with different themes, add certificate numbers and text, adjust the results table, and preview the final layout before issuing certificates to examinees. In the Classes section, you'll see a list of existing classes. You can add new ones or edit the details of current classes. In the Modules section, you'll configure the parameters for each module. Here, you can enter the module title, assign up to 5 license categories such as A, B1, or B2, and enable or disable exam generation for each category. You'll also set the total number of questions that should be drawn from the database for each exam in that module. If needed, you can specify that an essay exam is required for basic training modules. Modules with no stored questions can be deleted, and new modules can be added simply by filling in the details and saving. Each module contains subsections, which you can access from the Subsection tab or through the Modules menu. Subsections have a number, title, and description. For each one, you'll define the license categories it applies to, the difficulty level, and the quantity of questions per exam, as required by Part 66 or your training analysis. The system also shows how many questions are available in the database for each level. On the right-hand side, you'll see the total number of questions across all levels in the subsection. You can also exclude specific subsections from being used in exam generation, for example, if the questions are still under review. Targets and totals are also displayed. Targets represent the minimum required number of questions, while totals show the actual number available. Totals must meet or exceed the target, and for fairness, they must also be divisible by 4 so that examinees can achieve exactly 75%. Next, let's look at backup and restore. This section shows your backup history and allows you to control how often automatic backups are made daily, weekly, monthly, or disabled altogether. You can also create a backup manually at any time by clicking Backup Now. The system stores up to 6 recent backups, automatically deleting older ones. For each backup, you can choose to restore, download, or delete it. Restoring rolls back the system to the exact state it was in at the time of the backup, but this action is irreversible, so you'll be asked to confirm by typing a confirmation phrase. Downloading saves the backup as a zip file, which you can store securely offline. Deleting removes the backup permanently. Now, let's move on to the Questions tab. This is where you can manage all your questions before generating any exams. First, select the module you want to work on. As you scroll down, you'll see an overview that includes the total number of questions in the module, the number of questions that are unapproved, and those currently in hibernation. You'll also find a search bar, which allows you to look up specific questions by keyword or phrase, as well as a filter option to refine your view even further. Next, let's look at the repository management section. From here, you can select questions from the list below. Then click Add Selected to Repository. Click Review Repository to open and review the questions currently stored there. Once inside the repository, you can manage everything easily, including adding or removing questions. Within the repository, questions can be printed, exported as a CSV file, or sent directly to an exam, whether for a printed exam or an e-exam. Now, let's move to question management. Here, you'll see all questions available in the database for your selected module, including any search or filter results you've applied. Tick the checkboxes beside each question to perform bulk functions. Once selected, you can edit, copy, move, archive, or delete them, or add them to the repository for further processing. You can also select or deselect all questions, or even invert your selection for convenience. For each question, you'll see detailed information such as subsection and question number, the question text, answer choices A, B, and C, the correct answer, level, comment section, F1 percentage, approval status and history, population and revision details, and available actions, whether to edit, archive, or delete. Now, let's look at adding new questions to a module. There are two main ways to do this. 1. Import questions. You can import questions from a pre-prepared .csv or .text file up to 150 questions per file. 2. Add questions manually. You can also write between 1 to 10 questions directly in the system. If you copy and paste, make sure it's from a text file, not from Word or Excel, to avoid formatting issues. Now, let's go through importing questions in bulk. First, select the module where you want to upload your questions. Then click Import Questions. This opens a new page where you'll select the module and file type. You can upload either a .text file or a .csv file. A downloadable template is available to help you format your questions correctly. Once your file is ready, upload it and click Submit. The system will automatically load your questions into the database. Inside the CSV file, questions are arranged from the first subsection to the last. Your task is to review and assign each question to the correct subsection and level. Each question entry shows its comment, subsection, and level, so it's easy to verify accuracy. To speed things up, you can click Apply Subsection to All, and do the same for level and author fields. As you review, scroll through the list to make sure each question matches the correct subsection and level. If you move to a new subsection, simply adjust the subsection and level again, then reapply the changes to all. Once everything looks correct, click Save and your questions will be imported successfully. Now let's move on to the last part, exam management. When you open the Exam tab, you'll find a list of all available exams. This list gives you key information such as the exam name, class, module, date, status, and additional options like summary, results, attendance, reports KDR, delete, duplicate, or reopen. When you open a specific exam, you'll see its basic information, including the date, time, module, license category, class, pass mark, number of examinees, and any notes. You'll also find details of the subsections and the number of questions in the exam. To view more, click Question Details. This section shows the complete list of questions, each with an FI field, and checkboxes to include or exclude the question from the exam, as well as an accredit checkbox, which, when selected, credits all examinees with a correct answer. Next is the Result per Question section. Here you can view detailed performance data for each question, including the examinee's name, exam status, exam number, attendance, login indicator, raw score, and percentage of correct answers. This allows you to analyze question effectiveness and performance trends. The final section is Result per Examinee, where you can review each participant's results, exam summary, and certificate or KDR availability. Once the passing score and eligibility are set, you can generate certificates directly from this page. There's also a printout option, which allows you to print exam papers, answer sheets, or attendance lists as needed. Generating an exam. Now let's see how to generate an exam. Start by clicking the Generate Exam button. Select the module type you want to generate the exam for. Next, choose the license category. The questions available and questions to be used fields will automatically update based on the selected category, as each one requires a specific question level, 1, 2, or 3, according to the Part 66 syllabus or training needs analysis. Then, select the class that will take the exam. Make sure that each examinee in this class is already subscribed to the module or type. You can check the home page to confirm which examinees and classes are subscribed. Set the date when the exam will take place. For e-exams, examinees won't be able to start before the set date. Then, set the time when the exam will begin. You can type the time manually or use the up and down arrows. Again, for e-exams, examinees will only be able to log in but won't be able to start the exam until the specified date and time. Subsections. In this section, you'll see the number of questions available in the database for each subsection or ATA chapter. Questions are filtered by level, 1, 2, or 3, approval status, and hibernation status, depending on your settings. You can also see how many questions will be randomly selected for each subsection, as defined by your global settings in the Part 66 syllabus or training needs analysis. If needed, you can override these values for a specific exam by typing different quantities directly. The total question count will automatically update. Note that you cannot generate an exam with more questions than are available in the database. Once everything looks correct, click Save and Generate Exam. At this point, you can choose whether to save it as a printable exam or an e-exam. You can also review the selected questions by clicking Review Repository, where you can delete or add more questions if needed. After confirming, simply choose your preferred exam method, in this case. We'll select e-exam and your exam will be saved and generated successfully. And that's how you manage and generate exams using the Total Training Support System. With QBGenerator software, you can efficiently organize, monitor, and analyze your exams, ensuring a smooth and reliable assessment process for both instructors and examinees. Thank you for watching this tutorial, and for choosing Total Training Support, your trusted partner in aviation maintenance training and examination solutions.